Ready, truly.
Welcome back to another episode of the Children of the Card Game. Once again, I am here, your host, the hostess with the mostest, Chaz, Manjome, Thunder, all that good shit, and my co-hosts.
And your co-host, people, you Bill, joined by yours truly, the God that never dies.
Uh,
Black Jesus, I'm here, I'm here.
Joined once again by our godly guest, now turned honorary member. But I don't know how you want to start this shit off. I mean, I have my main topic put down. So I don't know if you want to lead off with the main topic or you guys want to go into the OCG ban list or
Okay,
For
well,
now,
I don't know if the OCG ban list interests y'all, but
no, wait, all right. Wait, we can talk about that, but just now, Gina was talking about um the current state of Yu-Gi-Oh versus back then.
oh yeah,
I don't know if that's
yeah,
a topic. I don't know if that's a topic.
yeah, that was the main topic because I was speaking to some friends earlier this week, and that was kind of on the agenda where I think it was somebody who was new to the game and we're just having a conversation saying that you wouldn't survive back in the day in terms of old time Yu-Gi-Oh type aesthetics, I guess. So I wanted to see how you guys feel about the game comparatively. But I mean, I guess give some what else you know backstory to how I guess how you guys got into the game and how the game was at the time when y'all started playing. If you would,
Okay, so who wants to go first? Hmm?
I mean,
I don't mind going first.
no, go ahead. Go
Okay.
ahead.
I mean, I got into the game like in the early 2000s, back in the BM era.
Yeah.
Mm.
See, how I discovered Yu-Gi-Oh was I watched the anime and I was like, oh, cool, this looks cool. So I started to collect my cards, but when I got into the game itself, I mean, it was a whole new beast for me because I did not know anything about how to play.
Mm. Preach it to the
But
choir.
comparing Yu-Gi-Oh back then to now, I mean, I wouldn't mind going back into the past and just throwing down because the game was way more interactive, even though it was very slow. And to me, fun compared to you sitting down for 5, maybe 15, 20 minutes watching somebody just go ham, slapping down cards. When it's your turn, time is either called or you just can't interact with your opponents. You just lose. Right? Konami just keeps printing cards that say, hey, play me, you win the game.
Mm.
I don't know, man. What's your take, Jesus?
Well, one the system, like, just like yourself, I started with, the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Watching the anime, and through the anime got me into the card game, and where I used to collect cards, and, um, yeah, you're right, like, the game back then, while it was slower, but there was a lot more interaction, and also you have to look to I guess the scene now where who's playing versus um back then, where that persons have this mindset where get the best cards and hurry up and win and don't make a point, play Yu-Gi-Oh, that kind of thing. But for me, Yu-Gi-Oh, like I wouldn't say I want to go back to the past. I wouldn't be that drastic because there are some good things in the current game that are welcome, right? But overall, like what Jonah said before, um, the game, like one of the keys printing this card, play it if you want to win, right? Um, And there's like no, like nowadays people just hardly interaction anymore. It's like your opponent establishes score down with a million game, right? So by the time it's your turn, right, you can't do anything. No, I don't play the card games anymore in real life, so I don't know what it's like to partake in actual tournaments. So I only play from the simulators, and I can tell you, if that is what the state of the game is, I can just imagine like playing in real life, how like stressful it can be, right? So yeah, basically I would just like to have a mix of both old and new. But the game as it stands now is just too wild and it's too Konami doesn't have any much control over the cards have because they keep um like reducing some of the requirements right for certain masters and all that. So yeah, that's where I'm at with the no versus back then.
Hmm. Oh, interesting. I mean, for me, I guess since I'm the last one left. I started a long time ago, long years ago. Jesus.
And
When
who was the one who taught you how to do it?
Okay, well, I'm going to even before then, like before prior to that, back to the time when I had a friend. I think his parents bought into like the dual disc, and I think it was Pegasus structure deck. Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he got Pegasus
Well, no, Pegasus doesn't have a structure, it's a starter deck.
starter structure, same thing, same difference. But yeah, that's all. Like that, and that was before I even met you guys. But that was the first time being exposed to you guys. Granted, at that time, I had no clue what the fuck was going on. I didn't. All I saw was like little orange stars and um pretty color monsters and stuff. Sometimes not so pretty. And I was completely like taken aback. I had no clue. I think I had like rough ideas of what like how things work. I think because I remember we used to do the whole thing with the 8,000 life points thing, like, which kind of helped with my math, I guess. I don't know. What else? See, same 5 cards, all that stuff, and then eventually I kind of I fell off for a long time. I feel like this story is going way off the rails, but anyways, for the longest while I stopped playing Yu-Gi-Oh, and then it wasn't until about ninth grade when I met Jesus Christ.
Bad in my party kind of discussion.
Yo, the one them 40 say all born twins.
The dog will put up in the game.
I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, no problem.
Shit is amazing. But
I think what those guys are saying, like, they need to run, what do you call it, link cross? That's where you got to link cross.
it's like, yo, Link Cross need for band dog.
Wait, no, in the ACG, we can talk about, Charlie.
Yeah, but yeah, I met like in the between ninth and 10th grade, I met Junior, Akil, and the rest of the guys, and that's when I got back into Yu-Gi-Oh because I think when I met them at first, it was because of Pokemon because I was playing Pokemon at the time, and
Yeah.
and then I eventually stumbled into them playing the game. I was like, oh, I used to play this, and he's like, oh, you want to replay? And then I think Junior and Akil kind of like taught me and helped me with that deck, and it was noticeably slower comparatively. There's a little more skill, I guess, to an extent. Bluffing, the art of bluffing. No, I don't think anybody will ever. That would be a big thing anymore. 'Cause I don't remember if you remember Junior that one time we read the tournament. I think it was you remember Newbie with when he was playing Fireface. I think it was the
Yeah.
finals. Was it the finals? When he was
Yes, it
playing,
was the finals. This man mastered the art of the poker face.
this man literally set 4 bluffs and And the fucked up part is you know that he plays actual good like trap and spell and quick play spells.
Yes,
So
yes.
you don't know if it's a bluff or not because you also know that some of the spell and traps he play is for setup like
But he
10.
couldn't use anything. There were 4 dead spells.
There were 4
This
dead
man
spells.
folded his arms, looked his opponent in his face and said, yo, do something if you feel like you're a big man. And this man drew, set, and pass. I was like, wow.
Everybody was like,
focus mind trick.
but then
wow.
at the same time, he couldn't say anything because you see me, we weren't in the tournament. We were just watching. So it's like we know what's going on. So everybody have to shut the fuck up and just be patient and watch. while the duelist is like, is it a bluff? Is it not a bluff? Like, can I take this chance? But yeah, like the art of bluffing was like a big like. I think even Junior can attest to this. One of them, I think, what's his, Jermaine, or, not Jermaine, but,
Yep. Jermaine is a master of the bluff as well.
This man will. And the funny part is sometimes you never know. Because this man is like, I don't know where I'm getting black magic powers from, but some way, somehow, this man will set or just do stuff, just have cards in his hand. Because I think he was one of the first person I remember actually like using real quote unquote hand traps, which was at the time Karibo. But
oh my god. People back then when Heroics was actually a good OTK deck. Oh my god. I summon Excalibur for the OTK. I attack this man Karibos. Draws Fissure. I summon Excalibur again for the OTK. Karibo. Draws Fissure. For the third and final time, Excalibur. Karibo. This man top decks another Fissure. I don't know if you guys can tell how livid I am. But I was incredibly I won. In the end, I won. I won in the end. That's all that matters.
Yes. I win.
I'm just saying, man. Like stuff like that won't I don't think bluffing and like mind games and stuff like that will play a big role in today's game, but because a lot of times, like as soon as the opponents say that the setup is not in their favor and they can't counter whatever play is starting up at the moment, they just surrender and scoop and move to game 3 or game 2.
But that's the thing. Back then, you could bluff your opponents and get away with it if you're lucky.
If you're smart.
But no, you set 2 back row and I'm one. So even 5 cards, your opponent is like, oh, cool, so I win then. They're gonna go through those cards like hot bread.
Yeah.
Right?
And then I think there's always the fact of there's a lot of sacky cards back in the day where you could just be like, draw this and potentially turn the duel all the way the fuck around.
Oh yes. Searching was out of hand back then.
Well, searching, I don't even think searching was a big thing back then.
No, I don't think no. It was more like the destruction cards. Like if you were becoming back then, your boss monsters would be like harder to summon.
Some of them
cards like Mirror Force or something like that to
because battle traps have like kind of fell out of grace. Battle traps have fell out of grace as of recent. So like
so
nobody wants to take a risk with a card that says destroy your opponent's monster. Either they're protected from destruction, targeting, or they want them in the graveyard via destruction. And you just can't risk that these days.
I mean, you can't. It's just, I don't know, people find it's like I think because spell and trap destruction has been in and out of I guess, or just in kind of constant flux right now. Kind of it's on the rise because it's more there's way more spell and trap destruction cards compared to the earlier days when you're limited to Mystical Space Typhoon and Heavy Storm. Giant Trunade, maybe if you were able to play it at the time when if it was legal at the time you were playing.
I mean, Harpy's Featherduster is a thing now, so back row decks have to take notice.
No, but that's show how bad the game get now, where the motor limo Mirror Force get unbanned, Happy Feathers get unbanned and all that, and it does nothing for the current game, right? It's like the game it gets out of hand right now. You really can't do anything.
Soon, everybody, soon. Pot of Greed, Draw 2, very soon.
I don't think so.
It's getting, well, no, you might have just like cards that do the same way like cards.
Yeah, because there's so many cards now that do the same thing as Pot of Greed does, but it's just you have to give up something or whatever for it, which is fine, completely fine.
I have no problem with that.
I have no problem with it at all. I just I don't know, could be better. Wish I had some.
Yeah. Okay. So what do you guys? Okay. So you mentioned the OCG ban list.
Yeah.
Right.
Let me pull that shit up.
My take on it, I think is a damn good ban list. I don't know how long Konami will take before they like ban cards like Dragoon and all that. Right? But it is a good ban list.
I think yeah.
Right? And no, and I think Konami is brave enough, like at least no CG. Like they're brave enough at times to like ban the cards that's necessary. It's not like the OCG where they would focus on trying to sell the card first. So let them ban all the surrounding cards before they ban the actual problem. Right? Because right now they ban Link Cross. They ban what's that Utopia let's say whatever. The one that doesn't Utopia Yu-Gi-Oh! Right?
Yes.
Right. And they also ban was it Link Cross, was it? Yeah, and Dragoon. Right? And yeah, so like OCG for now it's the last man list is a really good one. I don't know how the game's still now. I have to remember they have things like Maxi and so over there and like different cards a different card pool. So who knows, but it is a good man list.
I don't know if you mentioned all the cards, but I'm looking at the article posted by the organization right now for the OCG ban list, and I guess OC limited forbidden list. So the ban Dragoons, as you said, the ban Utopic Zexel as well. Girsu, the Orcross Mech Knight, was limited to one. 1-for-1 was limited to one. I don't know where 1-for-1 was in the OCG prior to this, but it is now at 1. Memories of Hope, Nadir Servant, and Call by the Grave are now at 2. And White Dragon Wyver Buster, Makura the Destructor, Necroface, Red Eye Fusion, and Personal Spoofing are all at 3.
Well, like honestly, I can't understand like the attention Calvary Group is receiving. Like I can't see what is even limited or cards are being banned. Like I really can't see it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know either. I don't get it. The other thing, and I've been checking around the internet, and a lot of people share the same sentiment, which is like, what is so bad about this card that is getting limited now, or what is coming?
That's Call by the Grave, right?
Yeah, or what is coming out?
Because all right, don't quote me on this, but I believe that, and I think some people said the same. It was Call by the Grave was basically, it was like a safe way for combo decks to combo off.
Well, that's what I heard. But...
Yeah, but like it's a card that is based off how and when you play. Like yes, it is a safe way for Commodore to combo, but also it's a safe way for other decks to stop unnecessary. Let me not say unnecessary, but annoying hand traps at times. Like I can't tell you how much time I was running because I used to run. There was a point in time in my early Dino days where instead of running Ash, I ran triple. I think it was triple Call by the Grave because I just didn't want to run into Ash, but I didn't want to run Ash at the same time. So
Hmm.
I don't know. I thought it was justified, and it worked nine times out of 10. You see me? And then it also target other stuff. It's just I don't like to be interrupted when I'm doing something. I guess it's general. Which kind of start when I think about it now and I listen to what the fuck I just said. I realize yeah, it kind of makes sense what you're saying. Is like oh, it's a safe way for combo decks to combo off, but hey, you shouldn't have made cards like Ash Blossom so good.
But now here's the thing. All right, he mentioned just now that I don't want to interrupt you. Like no one likes a however. It's no, you're going to find um cards that stop you. So that back then you would have cards. Like you have the fiendish chain. You have
Yeah,
cards that will
Yes,
stop you from doing
definitely.
stuff. So there's always a way to stop you. And Call by the Grave was like because Konami was on this wave, I was on a wave of creating like bunch of hand traps, right? I can't even remember some of them, but there are like tons of them. And it got so bad to actual traps not really getting much love as it was back then,
yeah, because
right?
the appeal behind hand traps is that a trap or a spell card you can always destroy. Where a hand trap it exists within your hand. It is very hard for your opponent to attack your hand unless they're playing a deck that
Yes,
specifically does that.
because those cards don't touch the field. They go
Yes,
through the graveyard when
yes,
activated.
yeah.
So
So
there's little to no response.
there's very
And
yeah,
not only that, the setup, like, cause for a trap, for most traps, that's like set it for a turn, then you wait for your opponent to do something before you can activate it.
yeah. But normally, I
That
mean,
can happen.
I guess the ups. I mean, I used to love traps. I kind of fell off them more as of recent because just based off of the game state and the decks that I have been playing. But yeah, traps. The role that traps used to play in the game was the role of traps in the game initially at least. This is my opinion. This is not based off of anything that is actually in the game. But traps was a way for you to
Mm-hmm.
interact with your opponent during their turn because
Right?
whether you look regardless of how you look at it, you use a turn-based game. It's my turn, then your turn. You do
Yeah.
everything you can do to set up yourself to win in your turn. I do everything that I can do to set up myself to win in my turn. But then in between, when it is not my turn and I am unable to, I guess, do anything because it's not quote unquote my turn. That's the purpose. That's quick play spells, which I'm not initially not sure of the purpose behind making a spell card that works like a trap, but whatever. That's neither here nor there. And trap cards, that's a role they fill. It's to interact with your opponent. So I guess give the game that much more level of it's like it's a back and forth. It's not just a one sided thing type deal when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to the game itself. I don't know. That's just my 2 cents. But continue. Sorry for cutting you off.
No, it's fine. No, like I said, right, Konami, just like any other game or any other thing, is like trying to figure themselves out, especially back then, right? So, like you mentioned, the whole quick play, and yeah, quick play is like, alright, it's like a chop, but it's like a spell. So I guess it's like, I don't know, I don't know the reason behind that, but like I said, Konami is just trying to figure out themselves, right, with different mechanics and whatever. So, and they will make mistakes along the way. right? But
Yeah.
um, yeah, I don't know. Um, hold on one second. I think my phone is acting up. Give me a second.
Right.
No. Someone's gonna go. Just say my phone is acting up. So
Ah.
let's go ahead.
Cool. But speaking on the ban list, would you say OCG's ban list is better than the TCG?
Ah.
Um,
Because
I could.
when is it better? Um, I would say
do they or do they address the problematic cards more, or they just run around them until they're like, oh, cool, we can't do anything more with this, get rid of it.
Honestly, I'm not sure. Like the OCG to me has always seemed like the Wild Wild West. I could never
yeah.
understand it. Like, cause I remember.
No, I agree.
Oh, go
No,
ahead.
continue.
Oh well, what I was gonna say is I remember when like back in the day I used to always like frequent the the organization webpage was like my bible for because I used to I basically used to uh like get decks or get deck ideas from the OCG. And then I think I probably said this in an earlier podcast, but I always knew what was coming up next. So I always knew what the next big thing was before it even hit the TCG. So I was already like kind of like pre-prepared, and I've been like I would probably
Mm.
more than likely be testing on one of the simulators with an OCG server or whatever. So I was always like I don't know, but in general when you look at it and like you go through some of the deck lists or what is winning or what's not winning, and you see the pie charts and all these things, and you just look at it, it's like this look a lot less organized than the TCG does at times in terms of like some like as much as some people may or may not hate it, but like for a decent amount of time, there's always a hierarchy in terms of what is winning in the TCG. And the OCG is if you look at especially if you look at some of the articles in the organization or Road to the King, and you look at the pie charts, like granted the pie charts might show you like tournaments where you have certain decks that are topping it, like you have certain decks that you can pick up and you can be like, okay, that is the deck that winning, but there's always a large like section of like what they consider others or like decks that aren't quote unquote meta per se, or they're not they're not the new hot shit that has the highest representation. It's just some random decks. So the other section are the rogue deck section or whatever you consider that as. That section has always been like the well not always, but for a great long period of time, especially now, it has been like it takes up a larger portion in tournaments. Like, they're more as I guess the word would be experimentative or like players that just push the envelope in terms of like what they can win because not everybody has the same mentality where they just I go and pick up what's winning and I go and take it to the tournament and I go and win. Like a lot of them are more like I guess probably creative and like I said experimentative where they want to try something different. It's like oh let's see what I can do with I don't know fucking Jim Brown and Imbreda. Let's see if this is a good deck. Like I remember when zombies popped back up after this is a long time ago. This is like uh
The good old
Wait,
days.
the ball drop? The ball drop?
no, it was before that. It was like 4 years ago. It was around like I think it was early Arc V when Arc V was just getting popular. Around
So Sherinu is a thing.
not exactly but
Oh,
partially. It's like sheer noise, resonator. I think that at that time resonator call was out. And
Yes.
some weird zombie monsters. It was a synchro deck though. That was the gist of the deck was the synchro, and it came out of nowhere. I think it just topped or it won first place at some Asian tournament. But that shit that like just like random spots like that is like where the fuck did this come from? And then he kind of throw you for a loop, and then he's alright. We keep it pushing. And even the play style, the terms of the Dexter is like way more creative. Because not
And
everybody.
then you never see them again.
Sometimes. But it's just that's why sometimes even that's why I hear some people saying, "Oh, I want to be an original player and I don't want to play the meta decks and blah 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 blah." It's like you can, but you just have to know that you're going whether you like it or not, meta decks are going to be there. So you have to come with that in mind, planning that you're going to to for fuck I can't even speak right now. You have to go with that in mind and plan accordingly. That's what I want to say.
Well, the only downside, hold on, like I mentioned, the only downside to a meta deck is how popular it is now. I
Yeah,
like,
you kind of have
you
a.
know, other decks.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I like other decks where, like, alright, you might not be familiar with the skill style or what have you, right? So you can't really prepare for it. While a meta deck now, usually at tournaments, what I notice is that persons will get like info as to the most decks being played, and they will side deck cards to counter those decks, right? So the
Yes,
popularity
yes,
of
yes.
meta decks can be its own downfall, right? But
That's what I'm saying.
that's yeah, but that doesn't but that still doesn't take away the fact that
It's a meta deck.
it's a meta deck, and then the mindset of the players are going to be like, all right, I just want to win, as opposed to let me put passion into this deck. I remember back in the day, like when you're creating a deck, there was a passion, like, oh, I like this art, oh, I like this style. Let me spend hours improving that which that I liked. Now it's like, I can't bother with that. Which next deck I win? Oh, that I win. Let me pick up that. Right?
Yep,
I,
yep.
I let me put in like a one or two card difference, so it can be my style. But basically, but overall, it's just like, oh, let me look for the next thing that's winning. Oh, bandless come out. Oh crap, Konami banned some of our cards in. Next best deck. Oh, you are, I'm playing you next, right? So there's no passion in deck building. But especially with our lot of videos on YouTube telling you how to build X and so deck. So it's
Yep.
like each person copying the next person. So there's no originality anymore, right?
But
And it just comes down to
no, go ahead. Continue.
it,
Don't let me cut you off.
I'm just saying it just comes down to like, person just want to win, which is not a bad thing. I'm not going to say, oh, you're not supposed to not want to win, but like how you are winning, right? And I think some of the passion that was there in the early stages of Yu-Gi-Oh! Kind of somewhat get lost with this whole meta thing and everybody chasing the best card and what have you. So,
I mean, you
yeah,
go to a tournament expecting to see how creative these people are, and
yeah,
you
exactly.
just fight one deck 50 times for the deal. You're like,
Yeah,
wow.
exactly. Wow, I didn't
Uh,
see this one before. Wow,
I would say
how
You
original.
play, you play the deck so many times. It's like you, everything is just like textbook. You know what the person is going to do, what they're going for, and a well-timed interruption means that you have a chance to beat it.
Uh-huh.
in defense of tournaments, still like I'm going to be completely honest. Of the ones I've been to, I've never really seen like repeat decks a lot. Like granted,
Uh,
I will say in defense of like most of our tournaments I've been to are locals and regionals. So the regionals you more so see more at the regionals with like repeat like the quote unquote meta decks you see them more at regionals, but locals you see it a bit less because people are more are sometimes more experimenting at locals because it's like it's locals. It's not that serious. So some people are more willing to try the less popular thing. I can say that for because I remember going to I think it's a tournament I got fourth place, and first turn or first game was burn deck. Second was it's around the time I was running Satellite Nights. So I think it was I played a burn deck, and then fuck, who did I play in round two? Some random foolishness, and then I think I played with some girl with a blue eyes deck, And then my friend was running the TG stun, and he got me round 3, then round 4. I was playing mirror. It was a mirror match, and the funny thing was that the deck I was playing was my version of the deck was the weaker version because I didn't have all the money to buy all the good fancy cards, but I had the core of the deck, which is all that mattered, and that alone with a little bit of spicy tech and is a 100 level 100 IQ level big brain plays got me through the night. Well, I said that to say, like I said, just locals in general, you always see more creativity coming from the locals. But like I guess the higher what you say?
Oh no, I'm hearing only some, because one, the dog is one, right? And two, sometimes I think I did so. But I just can't understand what you're saying though.
Yeah, I was just saying,
Right?
like in general, the higher the level of competition get in terms of is it from the stages from locals to regionals to YCS to worlds or whatever, the more drive come behind it from playing the quote unquote meta. But when the competitive tension is not that high.
I'm saying that your movie
Oh, sorry. I'm trying to move to a more secure location.
Hold on, let me stop the recording. Yes, I don't know. Where else do you guys want to take the conversation? Do you want to go back into some more Yu-Gi-Oh stuff, or?
well, alright. I had this thing on my mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So let me ask you another question. What are your thoughts on cards like Dragon?
Dragoon, the fusion, right?
Yeah. What's the new card right now that everybody is going to watch because of how easy it is to someone and is effects.
Uh,
Right?
I don't know, man. Dragoons is it's
Alright. Before we go any further, alright, the reason I mentioned that card, right? Because usually whenever you mention cards like Dragoon or Mystic Mine or any of these top cards,
I have
right?
new thoughts on Mystic Mine after a couple of experiences recently. But continue.
Okay, well, yeah, we spoke about this, right? Um, Now, whenever you bring up these cards, because I'm in several Yu-Gi-Oh groups on Facebook, and whenever they bring up cards like those, persons will be like, oh, like if I'm missing my, learn to have battle removal, right? Like, what was it? Mystical Space Typhoon or whatever, or if you mention Dragoon, right? They'll be like, oh, there's ways to get rid of Dragoon, whatever, and they will give you like a list of cards that can get rid of it. Now, my argument is every card, every boss monster, whatever, have a way you can get rid of it. That doesn't mean the card is not OP or overpowered,
Yeah.
right? And with the whole Mystic Mind, like I don't know where your experience lies, but from my experience with Mystic Mind is usually like I get the idea behind Mystic Mind, right? I get the idea of like all these combo decks, getting a decks, basically, is a way to try and slow it down or do something. I get that. But, and even though I would be for it, but I don't want to sacrifice interaction for a thing like that, where the person will set this in mind and just like, you can't do nothing. And the dude just become bored, and especially if you're playing it in one of them star deck, like a burn deck or what have you, makes the game even more boring. right? Like I said, the game is about interacting, and any card that doesn't allow that, right, it's a problem. So you go ahead, and I want to hear your experience with this, Mike. And maybe yours is different from mine. So what's your experience?
Uh it's very Jesus. The card is annoying for one. I
Mm,
mean, mainly,
I agree.
I think the main. Well, then I think for me though, it was more of a case where I didn't have a lot of spell and trap removal in the deck that I was running, which is on me. And then I didn't even put together a side deck, so that's what made it kind of worse. But yeah, the deck it's annoying when you don't have an out to it. I think that's and it slows down the game because I think it was a True Draco that I was running, which was just completely like threw me off. I was so confused. It made sense, but it threw me off like real hard, and it was basically just a way for the person to stall until they could basically put their hand together, and it worked really well in True Dragons because they run cards like fucking the diagram. We can easily replace the as soon as you draw into the diagram, you more than likely going to end up taking Mystic Mine out the field and then set up a True Dragon combos and shit. But
Mm.
yeah, I think it was that it was one it was a True Dragon that I was running it, and what else? I don't know, but my general thoughts behind it is it makes the game boring. It brings the game to a screeching halt, especially if you're in a deck that's heavy with effect monsters. It brings the game to a screeching halt. Like I was playing Monarchs by the way because Pantheis is in back at three. You know, I have to see the full power of that.
Whoa.
But
Still
yeah,
bricks.
it's still bricks, but it bring down the brick ratios because before I was trying to play it without the pantheism, and that shit was not fun at all.
Wait,
But
remind me again, what's that card that it's a Valkyrie card, but it's a continuous spread ability. Lets you look at three cards in the opponent's deck and rearrange it in whatever order.
Junior,
It's a Valkyrie card, but I don't know what the name, but they use it in combination with the Mystic Mind,
I think you was talking about it last week.
right? So,
Yeah.
What's it called?
I think it's. Hold on, let me bring this up.
I don't remember the name. But it's a that's what I find it. It is a Valkyrie. It's a Valkyrie. But running card we can basically use,
To set up your
right?
opponent to basically make your opponent top deck what you want them to top deck.
Right. So basically, so what we're doing is
If you have all three, if you have all three, it wouldn't matter because you'll just get rid of the card anyways.
no. Yeah. So even if you had oh here it is. Hold on. I think it's a mischief of the time goddess.
No.
So
It's Goddess Ernest Verdict. Sorry.
okay,
Goddess is Ernest Verdict. Your opponent targets Valkyrie monsters you control. So yeah, cannot target Valkyrie monsters you control.
I'm not talking that card. I'm talking.
Hold on.
I'm talking. Hold on. Listen. Okay.
Oh, no, sorry, this is the wrong one.
Okay. Neither player can activate cards or effects in response to this card's activation, right? Can be activated as a chain link 2 or higher. At the end of your battle phase, all monsters you control are Valkyrie monsters. -1. What are they? Oh no, this is not the card.
No, here it is. Here it is. It's Goddess's Skull is Oracle. Yes, here it is.
Yeah,
You can look at the
yeah,
top three cards of your opponent's deck, and if
yeah,
you do, place them on top of the deck in any order. But you
right.
cannot normal or special summon monsters for the rest of this turn.
Exactly. So in a deck like in a Mystic Man build now where you need automatic and they want to give you monsters with the Ojama tokens
Now,
or what have you.
if they run cards like this, they are not summoning monsters. They don't run monsters in their decks.
Yeah, no, what I'm saying, yeah, exactly. So the Mystic Mind itself is a 9 already. So it's especially a 9 even more when in one of those star decks or whatever, where they're burning you or them, probably trying to summon a Zodiac or whatever, but it's usually a star, right? And if you have even any back row removal, your opponent can first search the top 3 cards of your deck and just like shuffle it down so you can't, so you will never get it, right? So you have to rely on maybe like monster to like somehow cause it to shuffle so hopefully you can draw it, but then the one Mystic Mind don't let you activate it, right? If you have more monsters than your opponent. So it's like alright, it become a one-sided duel at that point, right?
Yeah, but the Saki players, remember, they run field barrier. They give added protection.
Exactly, it became worse. And as a matter of fact, Mystic Mind only the downside to Mystic Mind was alright. If you and the opponent have like the same amount of monster, right?
It's destroyed during the standby,
Right.
or the end phase.
The end phase, right? But
field barrier prevents that.
Exactly. So it's like alright. You basically can't do anything, right? And so the only hope is to have some backfield removal before your opponent activate that
But they run three dark bribe, so good luck with that.
I'll leave it that too. So worse if it's them go first time and then double a settle. Right? Your hope can draw cards like Eagle and Max.
Yeah.
Right. But then like I say you have Dark Bride on all of them. So it's like alright, Mystic Mind itself covers all of the majority or whatever problems that the deck might face, right? Will it be like effects on monsters or whatever. So within the problem you look for now is to prevent your opponent from activating certain spell and traps. Right? And that's it really.
That's what once they play Mystic Mind you're on a clock. Because if they get what's it called? Wave motion cannon. Or it's not something part of the old man. Right?
Right.
And start setting up counters on that. That's when you have to ask yourself, can I tap the card I need to get rid of this card and then try an OTK, or do I just lose?
Well, I'm not saying it is impossible. Okay, I'm not saying it is impossible to win any duel, because I come from some duel like I was wondering like how to put this on, right? But win anyway, right? But I'm looking at the overall consistency and the potential of certain decks. Where, like for example, a guy the other day told me like, cause I'm playing Ancient Gears, he's telling me how Chaos Giant is OP or whatever, and I said, yeah, the card by itself, you can call it OP. But the question is, how would you summon it, right? Like, it is not an easy thing to summon. Granted, maybe if it existed back in the day, it would be harder to summon, but it still requires you to have 4 gear monsters, right? And then on top of it, if the person can either hydrate, right? So it is
a well-timed monitor bug.
Right, exactly. It has an out to it, right? So it's not like impossible. And plus, the summoning conditions is not so easy where it can be stuck at the end of the night.
Hey, the summoning conditions is fine. Sure, 4 inch
No,
gears is
no,
a
no, no.
stretch. But, be glad, and I'm so glad myself that it does not include ancient gear golden. Any more specifics, and we have to run more copies of a card, we can't even special summon.
No. Where I was going was that like again, I am cool with the summoning requirements, right? I am cool with that, and the thing is because it's not so loose with the summoning requirements, right?
Yeah.
You don't see a lot of this abuse, like how they abuse Cyber Dragon.
Infinity. Oh my god, Infinity.
I even Master and Dark Law, right? It's not so free.
I remember when those cards first came out. Every and any deck that either had a dark monster or a level 5 or higher light could make it.
I don't get it though. Hold on, something I have a thing in my mind right now where I don't know what's the mindset behind the card design. It's like, alright, I'm not talking about those one-off cards like, that can really help your deck, whatever they can run in, like a Babusta or Tornado Dragon. I'm not talking those cards. I'm talking archetypes, right? And when you look at the archetypes, they literally like nothing to summon them. So like you have Isolde from Noble Knights versus 2 warrior monsters, right? For Glad Beast, you have to have at least a Glad Beast monster to summon any other link monsters then, right? But for almost, and I guess ancient gears to an extent we need just like earth based machine monsters, but the thing about the reason why that is not so OP like any other monster is that machines are not really up there in terms of like, meta or anything like that. It's usually the dragons or whatever. So having any cards with help machines is like, alright, whatever. Limit or move or alright, whatever. Four band, alright, what? On a thing that going to be up there, like, and then dragons, the Mario Savage Dragon or anything like that. So the card pool that machines have right now, we're having really all that high. So they have always other dragons and the warriors and I don't know, probably fiends, dark attribute monsters.
It's always like dragons, warriors, and spellcasters are the best.
Yeah,
it keeps bouncing forward with dragons and spellcasters.
Yeah, but for the most part, that was like from my main sister, it was mostly like dragons were always better on top. It is even slightly. Right? Because I don't know if it's part of my mindset to be like, alright, dragons need to be the most powerful. Hence why a blue eyes white dragon compared to a dark magician is like higher in attack. Right? And it's the same level monster.
Yeah, I mean, blue eyes requires on pure power, dark magician. If you don't have their spell and traps, you can't win.
Yeah, so I don't know what the idea Konami is kind of getting the two looser card design, and like I like Magic. Well, I haven't played Magic in a while, so I don't know what the game is here now. But from what I remember, it's a bit more controlled.
So long.
No, the reason for me not playing so long because there is no like simulators that I don't really like have the funding all the time to be like getting cards, buying cards, or whatever. So if there's a simulator available, I might just play it then. And there is no simulator for me to play right now that I know of.
Like, I mean, I think Magic the Gathering online.
Yeah, I think there is. I'm not sure.
Wait.
Yes.
Wait, hold on.
For the PC, see Magic the Gathering online.
So hold on. No, but suppose I want to play via my phone. Can I do that? Like, how do I have to?
No. No. They don't have any mobile any mobile games that can be played just
Exactly. No,
through
you
the PC or the laptop.
no, no. You used to have one that came out like before some years ago. I think it was Marquez.
Yeah,
I don't know,
I
2015,
don't
2016.
think anybody's playing that game anymore. I mean, it hasn't
Yeah,
been updated much.
yeah.
Uh,
That's the thing. Yeah, that was when I used to play it. Like I used to play it for the PC at one point, and then I tried for the Android, and we started sold it, right,
Uh,
and play it, right, because I don't know, it was the only way for me to play those games, right. I don't have the luxury to buy cards and everything like that, so um. But the thing, what I remember about Magic the Gathering is that at least it's a bit more controlled. Because you have certain cards, certain limitations, and even if a card was to the OP, like it can easily correct the problem. Whereas Yu-Gi-Oh is just so loose and it's so wild and they hardly have any control. Plus on top of it, so they want to sell the card. So they're not going to deal with the problem immediately. So players will have to put up with a broken card for a good couple months. Right? Um I don't know, this economy needs to like tone down with some of the requirements.
mm,
That's what I'm proud.
I don't know. That's
But the one thing I would say was, alright, somebody once, alright, somebody said that the balance, um, what am I talking about the OCG balance? Is it better than the TCG? And like, as I said, the OCG is like the Wild Wild West, right?
yeah.
When it comes
yes.
to the game, right? But the thing is, um, I would say the OCG balance that came out recently is better than the one that just came out for TCG recently. Um, because it killed most of the problem with, I guess, TCG ran out have, right? Again, like we say, we have a different card pool
Yeah, and they had the
from the
card.
OCG.
They have had the cards for longer than we.
Exactly, they had
Wait,
Dragon's like
hold on.
maybe a year.
Where is Dragoon sitting on the ban list for the OCG?
It's banned.
Dragon is gone.
Ain't you paying attention,
Okay,
sir?
Literally.
that's why I realized. That's why I realized Fusion is at 3.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah, no,
I,
I get the wanted to like boost either that magician or whether it's deck with just like one single card. But they kinda went overboard with it.
Uh,
Right? They
yeah.
want to like they were kind of like create some other cards like hey here I might not be as far as
well,
Dragoon, but
if
it
you're,
works.
if you're being completely honest, though, I'm pretty sure Dragoons is not the problem. It's Verte
I
and the
can't hear you
Conda.
though.
You hear me?
Yeah, I'm being hearing you though.
Alright, hold on.
No, I think no, I don't think it's you, I think it's me, like the signal dips.
Oh, okay, okay.
So it either what cards are there or cards something for me not to hear.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is I don't think Dragoons is the problem. Like Dragoons is not the issue in terms of with the game right now. I think it's more of a issue with Verte and the Conda because that's a real problem. It's not Dragoons. It's Verte and
No,
the
I
Conda.
would disagree. I recommend the same with the greater anaconda. It is good, right? But there's still other ways of summoning. Because at the end of the day, alright, you have Dragoon and you have different ways to get him up. So taking away one way is the energy of good still be the same.
Yeah, I mean
Greater
because
because
it's
anaconda,
to get one.
yeah, greater anaconda just seems to be like the quicker way to summon him now. Right, but the card itself, like it cannot target it, cannot destroy it, and depends on your summon it, so it can
but that's the
either
idea
cut
behind a
two cards.
I think that's a general idea behind a boss monster, though. Especially nowadays, it's like normally like the last card you're going to draw for, as in, or the card that's going to win in the game is a lot of times a very powerful card. Like look at Masterpiece.
Yeah, but the summon requirement. Right, no, why is it man? Listen, alright, I have no problem with a monster having good effects. But if it is, you cannot have an easy summon requirement and OP effects. Like you cannot decide that.
I mean,
Like I said, Chaos Drive is a really good boss monster. But if some of the requirements, I mean, it took up a lot of resources, right? So you can have a car that basically so easy to summon, and at the same time it has this like a roost and effect.
so hold on.
It's either one or the other. Like
Double magician.
I wouldn't mind if it was difficult to summon, and it has the effects, or vice versa.
Can I be struck by
You
card?
can have both.
You play can target
You
this
can,
card. What you said?
yeah,
I reading through the effect because I never really looked at the effect for Dragoons. All I know that it does some negate and it does some potential burn damage. I think something like that. And then
I don't restriction as well.
it's not gonna read through the effect. No, it's you can destroy one monster your opponent controls if you inflict damage to your opponent equal and if you do inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's original attack, you can use this effect a number of times per turn or up to the number of normal monsters. Okay. Up to the number of normal monsters used for the fusion monster. This card wording is weird, but anyways, once per turn.
Basically, if you use
Yeah, I understand. I get it.
monsters, you can use
Yeah.
it twice.
I get it. Just saying the wording is weird.
Yeah.
You can discard one card and negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card, and if you do that, this card gives 1,000 attack. Jesus Christ.
Permanent too, so that's
But
what? Permanent.
in its defense, Red Eyes Dragoons is not that easy to summon. I mean, granted, Dark Magician, Red Eyes Black Dragon. I think Red Eyes Fusion helps with that.
Yes.
Yes.
It uses from the deck.
Because the card has Red Eyes in its name, which is so unfortunate. But I mean, I still think Verte Anaconda is more of the culprit than Dragoons itself, because Dragoons was probably made with the intention to just fall in place with the rest of the good Red Eyes Fusion cards, and then they probably kind of with a bit of oversight. Or Verte Anaconda came out, maybe they didn't. Maybe they already knew that Verte Anaconda would help.
Verte Anaconda is another example of Constantine's bad design. Because Verte Anaconda, I think it's a prayer plant outside, right? It's just a prayer plant.
Exactly.
Yeah, but in defense,
it was made so that predator plants could fuse more easily.
But in defense of it,
because to get to the bigger monsters, you need to fuse with, I think, monsters your opponent controls are in their graveyard. Either they have to have like a predator plant count on them or something, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know.
In defense,
Anaconda was like, oh, here's the easy button, boom.
But in defense of Verte Anaconda, well, not inverted, but Predator Plants in general was just a very fusion centric deck. I mean, that falls under Predator Plants, and Predator Plants is a very fusion heavy or fusion centric deck because it's the duelist and the fusion version of the RV main character.
Yeah.
And another thing.
Yuga.
Some fucking bullshit. I stopped watching the anime, so I don't care
But
anymore.
at the same time, he was the one who introduced us to the Ancient Gear supports.
Yeah, because that was, I don't know. Oh, because I think it's because what's his name? Crowler. Crowler was
Crowler was the original Ancient Gear user.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure all of the it's like it just
spread
through. I think Obelisk Blue. Obelisk Blue is like almost everybody in Obelisk Blue.
The team Rocket for you, bro.
Yeah.
But hold on. I mean, this one also spoiled that Super Polymerization was going to, come off the ban list. Call it what you mean. To me, that's a spoiler.
Oh. No, but alright. Verte itself, right? First of all, what is the summoning condition for Verte?
Alright, I'm gonna look it up right now. So, but in the meantime, yeah, I was just
I
saying.
think it's just two effect monsters.
I think is this
Exactly. Right? It is so. Yeah, we can argue so that whether the drug is supposed to be banned or not banned, limited or whatever. Right? Verte is also not a problem. Right? Because I'm not seeing any product plant being played. Right? I always see like Verte and maybe one or two of the boss monsters depending on the deck of the person I use. But the product plant deck itself, I don't see anybody playing it. And this is, what I said, is of Konami's bad design of cards.
well,
Where they say,
I mean,
this card is meant to hit that
Yes,
archetype. At the same
it's
time,
just two effect monsters.
uh,
Just two effect
yeah,
monsters. Why couldn't they say one of them has to be a predator plant
predator
monster?
plants. Exactly, when the person have to play a predator plant monster in the deck. To kind of slow it down a little bit. Not even that.
I don't know. I mean, in
You
defense,
can pay 2,000 life points and send one fusion or polymerization, normal or quick play spell card from your deck to the graveyard. This effect becomes that spell's effect when the card is activated. Also, you can special summon monsters for the rest of the turn. You can only use each effect of predator once per turn. It's not a hard once per turn. My word.
what do you mean? It says it can only use the effect once per turn.
Yeah, we also have to play.
Isn't this a soft once per turn?
No.
Well, I don't know if like if someone another can can do the same. I don't think that's what I've never seen it being done, so I think it's a hard once a turn. But just the soil itself, right? Especially when depending on the monster in the summer,
It's
because
not specific. It's just two random effect monsters, and you're good.
right. So like, all right. What's a glad beast monster? Tex Panther, right?
Yes,
You have to
I
have a
think you
glad
need a
beast.
glad
You have to
beast.
have a glad beast.
And in order to use the effect, you need glad beast on the field.
But then I don't know, because what I would say for Verte Anaconda in defense against another me defending the card again, predator plants aren't really that good. If we really think about it, 'cause I think I played predator plants earlier this week, and that deck was not good. Like, no
No,
offense.
but that no, but I get what you're saying, but that's not what the point I'm getting at. I'm just
Yeah,
trying
so
to
I
look
think
at that.
no, I think the reason why you say two effect monsters is because I think some hybrid
Hello,
version.
yes,
We're listening.
I think
it's so far again.
oh shit, fuck. How it's on now?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, but what I was saying is most I think most versions of Purple probably is like a hybrid stuff. Just I guess to circumvent the fact that Predators don't really have the best effects or the best monsters. It's just like, oh, since they're going to run a hybrid version of Predators anyways, then just take away the requirement of a Predator monster and just be two effect monsters. So
So why give it a name Pedaplat then? This is alright. So you're creating a monster with the archetype name, however, it has nothing to do with the archetype.
no, it does because like it says you send cards from your deck. It's a easier way to fuse because like
Hello?
yeah.
No, could you repeat that?
No, I say it's an easier way for the deck to fuse because it's you're sending cards, you're sending this fusion spell and or the monsters from the deck. So it's kind
Okay.
of it's a play on it's a play on the newer fusion because a lot of if you notice like the way fusion has been going forward is almost every new fusion deck now are decks that get new cards that revolve around fusion or fusing is more than likely is some way to get the card instead of needing to have the cards in your hand. You sent from the deck, I think, and I think it was Shaddolls that started the trend.
I believe so.
Yeah,
Yes, it was Shadows.
Shaddolls started the trend with Shadow Fusion, and then Red Eyes. I'm not sure if they're the ones that followed next, or between Red Eyes and Gem Knights were the ones that followed suit next.
No, it was Gem Knights. Gem Knights after Shadows.
Yeah, Gem Knights. Gemini's have Brilliant Fusion, and then Red Eyes followed suit with Red Eyes Fusion. So it's a trend that has been going on for a while in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh. It's
Okay,
just that I guess
okay, here's my
so. Verte Anaconda would be like the peak of it, where it's like more generic. It's generic. Is an extra deck monster, which you don't sacrifice a lot of deck space for that. But at the
okay,
same time,
okay. Allow hold on. Allow me to tell a little story. I'm going to try to keep it as short as possible.
oh man,
Now, if
yeah,
Junior number for Paula, right? And you know, from there one is an HA player, right?
yeah,
Now, um, I had to back then. I like even now currently I try to do my decks as pure as possible, meaning there is no mix with the type or anything like that, right? Um, so where is issue here is that the unfortunate thing is I have to use it with the machina, right?
yeah,
Oops. And what the MP is that people are not even the chooses the stuff. So it's like, alright,
yeah,
you have a monster right now that has a summon requirement that doesn't require any monster from its archetype, right? Which lends itself to almost any deck abuse it. Like the Cyber Dragons, right? Are any other monster that they really need this archetype to summon,
yeah,
right? And what happens is it's just to me it just because of the whole spirit of the thing where like, alright, I want to say like just each your cards in this deck for the most part. I just want to see Cyber Dragons in this deck for the most part or whatever. Instead of persons how they build it now. Like they couldn't give a shit about Cyber Dragon, they just want the Cyber Dragon Infinity. I just show it in a whatever deck they might use to then negate my build strategy. I break my build strategy. Right? So it's like monsters are just reduced to just you know what they can do, right? And how powerful they can be. So the spirit of the game is just kind of lost, right? If I should show a deck list now, I would 3 decks I have right now on the game. I have Cubics, I have Ancient Gears, and Gladius. And if you look at it for the most part, there is no mix. There's no like a mix with like a different archetype. Or even though I've seen that there's that probably are better than mine by far because they mix or whatever. But I don't want that. It's just because I'm the spirit of the thing. To me at least. Right? So birthday, I don't know, birthday is another example to me of like, alright, we have know for the player class and all that, but they're not really getting a play if you just birthday and a candle alone and get featured.
but
Good, other bits.
I think one thing people start, well not start to, but have may or may not forgotten. You know, it's like back in the days, since we
You sound far again.
oh shit, fuck, what? I am in the same place. Can you hear me well now?
Yeah, I don't know. You gotta hear it. I don't know. Like, a while ago, no, a while ago, it's like we did at the shadow room. And then you know, and so, we don't know. Like, in or out of the shadow room, so we have to know.
Yeah, but I'm good now, right?
Yeah, it's all good now.
Yeah.
All right, so
Hopefully you stay this good.
oh god. But what I was saying is like, people. I think one thing people sometimes forget that back in the day, Yu-Gi-Oh was a game where there are a lot of decks that were splicing and slashing stuff in. Like, there's a lot of cross breed, cross section, cross
Cross
combin.
bill,
Just combi. There's two like either two engines or two decks of separate ideations coming together to do something together. Well, to do something great together. Like for example, would be Perfect Circle Monarchs. Like Perfect Circle Monarchs wasn't just Monarchs. It was
Yeah.
Monarchs, Frogs, and I think most times Light and Darkness Dragon or Vanity's
Yes.
something like that. Like a lot of decks existed like that back in even a lot of decks that Dark Arm Dragon was in was just a strange combination of cards fucking rescue cat and
Mm-hmm.
all these things and MX.
But they work.
Yeah, it
They
worked, and
work.
it's so
No,
it's not new when cards get quote unquote reduced to just what they can do. Like Dragon Dragon was just in a lot of decks because the decks were capable to run, or the decks had the ability to run enough darks to keep Dragon Dragon
okay.
alive,
I
more or
believe there's
less.
a misunderstanding. Hold on. Before we go further, I believe there's a misunderstanding. Right? There are cards, right, that can withstand to any deck. Like, let's say, for example, you mentioned Dark brother, right?
Yeah,
Dark
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I have, like I mentioned, I have Magusa, you have Tornado Dragon, right? I'm not talking about those one-off cards that you can use to help the deck with any population, right? I'm talking about a specific archetype, right? And I think what the issue is too, because the anime itself, the persons who watch the anime is kind of deceiving with that every time they see a player whoever, doing, for the most part, they keep them kind of pure. So you will see like the Salaman Gate, what's the Silver, you will see now just pure Salaman Gate monsters for the protagonist from Variance, who's good, Kotaka, right, outside those for the most part.
but there's more.
Right.
But I think this is a
No,
new.
no,
It's more of a new
yeah, no,
thing.
yeah. I didn't know cybers, yeah, like different cybers. But what I'm saying is that the anime, how people talk is that, this is more fun, like, if you have, you play a certain archetype versus another archetype, and to see which one win, right? I don't mind the mixing. Having rescue rabbit in the deck is not mixing to me, right? Because it's not either archetype per se, if that makes sense. So
Yeah, I understand.
it's just a way for you to summon normal monsters, so it's not a region to nobody, right? Not even name, right? but the Vertanakan, the product plan Vertanakan, it has the product plan name. However, it's like if one of them was supposed to have it, the body now play it. Because for one day,
Just like Anti-Five Rocks.
exactly, Christian,
Belongs to Christians. It was supposed to give Christians the extra push, right?
right,
But
I know what it
every
Christians
other
are
silver base deck is using it.
right, and another one where they did ban before, when they make out was election,
Electromite. Electromite was made for freaking metaphors. Yet
metaphors,
every other pendulum abused it until it got banned. And asked metaphors if they even got to summon it.
Yes.
I will give it, and that's the unfortunate thing because the deck that really needed it now have to lose it because other deck abuse it. You understand? So like for the TCG balance and what was the card of balance that we again that I played synchron but the use of like some synchron. Just synchron, I don't remember. Right?
Or the one that got banned recently?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, just synchron.
No. Right. No, it would really help I guess synchro decks. But because it was being abused by other archetypes, right? The deck that needed it the most now have to do without it because others were abusing it. Right? Where it was made for a certain archetype or a certain deck. Right? But there's abuse.
I mean, in defense, I still think, because the way I've been thinking about it, and the way sometimes it kind of appears, it's not always a case where I think how do I get to this point? The way I kind of see it sometimes is a case where yes, there are archetypes, and archetypes are starting to take more of a front seat now more than ever in the game. But I think one of the things that where the roles that archetype fills is like it's kind of what's the word? A place a place of reference for like future solo cards that can be good. Because I guarantee if Verte Anaconda was not a Predator plant, what if let's say we take the Predator plant off of the name Verte and it was just Verte Anaconda. It was just a random link monster that did the same thing that Verte Anaconda does, but it doesn't fall under the Predator plant banner as a but I think when it the reason why cards like Verte Anaconda exist is because, like I said, there are decks in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh that have certain play styles or certain just influence, just have different, because you can like name decks and you know like what the main gimmick of it is, or what era it came from, or what is its like main goal of trying to accomplish. Like Predator plants revolve around fusion, synchrons are, which is obvious, revolve around synchro. Other decks as well. Frames have a decent link monster that I think I remember running in dinosaurs because I was using a small frame engine, but it's just no, granted the link monster does work better with the frame engine because you get the monsters out and you get to use them in turn, but whatever. Let's do that here now there. I'm just saying, like, the reason why a lot of cards have certain like or fall under certain archetypes is intentional, yes, but it's just to have like a reference point in a sense, or something to kind of like draw it to it more. You know, it's like it appeal on both ends. It's like it appeal to you on as I guess something to remember, or just as like, oh yeah, this deck still exists, but at the same time the effect is what I guess takes precedence. So like cards like Haruki Fryback, I can't even say that word. Haruki Fryback.
Say needle
Fryback. Jesus Christ.
No. We're saying it tonight. Haruki Fryback. Say it.
Haruki Fryback. Jesus.
Right, there you go. I'm trying to think about it. It's pushing Haruki Fryback. I'm going Haruki Fryback.
Yeah, that card and cards like Verte Anaconda. What else? There are other cards that kind of fall in the same role where they have.
What's the flipping ABC link monster?
Union Carrier.
The Union Carrier.
And it's not just link monsters. Don't get it twisted. Even Metal Foes heavy Electromite. The hell? But yeah, even Metal Foes granted, the more and more we're going to, it's starting to seem more like a late monster thing. But what I'm trying to get off is that they could have easily made them random cards with no ties to prior archetypes, but they did. I think it's like I say, it's appealing to your nature of knowing the archetypes. It's like, oh, it's like it's kind of like the tie to the archetypes playstyle is what I'm saying. So it's like so instantly as you think Metal Foes instant thought process goes to, okay, this is going to be support for pendulums. Yes, it might more be targeted towards Metal Foes because what I guess what a lot of people didn't understand about Metal Foes is Metal Foes revolves around like partially fusing, but more so like destroying their own cards to get graveyard effects and stuff like that. So that's why Electromite plays a big role in just pendulum decks in general, because of the fact that you have a way to get rid of the scale, especially now that the game says the master rule has changed and is no longer a case where pendulum zones are zones by themselves. It's part of a spell and trap collection. So when you put down your pendulum, you set up a pendulum scale, you're losing two potentially useful back row positions. So the general, I think what I'm trying to get to is the cards are tied to the archetypes just because of play style. If it's easy to it's an easy case to be made. You just be like, oh, we can make these random cards that do these good things at time to know archetypes, and they might fly under the radar, but they probably won't. But it's just for it's kind of just a way to like put a bow on top of a good archetype. Granted, sometimes yes, other decks find better use for it, but it I think it was always that was always the intention at the end of the day. Sorry if I went on.
Well, no, it's fine, no, it's fine. No, I don't want to give me more of an idea of what I'm going to say now, right? And I'm going to say all that because, yes, I can understand what you're saying, overall, but here's my thing, right? Somebody once said this, I think, a couple bandlists ago, where I think it was a Black Queen card that got banned or something like that. And somebody in the comments,
Steam the cloak.
yeah, right. And somebody in the comment section said, "What? As a Black Queen player, it sucks because a card that the Black Queen deck needed was being abused by other decks, right?" So I get what you're saying with the real Bertha thing, and it has a name, but other archetypes can use it and whatever. I get that, but at the same time, because it's so loose, you have certain cards right now, certain decks right now that they need the help and need the support. Because it's that everybody ever want to mix and match deck, it's that everybody ever want to play meta. Right?
Yeah.
And it sucks. And it sucks that other decks like art. Let's say for example, the new Asian game support that came, that's what Ballista came out. Right? And it had effects where it will help other decks more than the Asian game deck. Right? What will happen is that let's say that card is too powerful to Konami say bans the card. What will happen is that me as an Asian game player will have to release out on that support because other decks were abusing it. Right? So it's just when it's too loose with the summoning requirements also play a certain archetype. And some people just love playing the archetype as opposed to just mixing and matching and doing whatever. I keep if I should send some deck with screenshot and send some, like I try to keep my decks pure. Some other people like keeping decks pure. Right? And it sucks that you have to lose a card because other decks have been abusing it. Hey, for me, every time a balance comes up, I don't have to worry too much, Because here's what, the cards that I use, like the cards that I use is not being abused by other decks.
No.
Right?
So when the banlist comes out, it's like, serves you right.
Yeah, it's more of, alright, cutting down those top decks, but my deck itself, I don't have to. As a matter of fact, the last time I worried about a particular card was when Maxi was banned, right? Because Maxi in ancient game was like, it really helped, right? But I can understand why they banned Maxi, right? But what I say is, decks that needed certain support might eventually lose a certain support. Heavy metal players deck itself might they need electromite, but they now lose it because other decks abuse it. And then guess what? There is no replacement for it. Like what they do with what's the archetype name? Orcus. Orcus, if they want to pronounce it, right? Where them would ban limit certain card or whatever, and then they will have other support immediately to try and fill the void.
Oh yeah.
Right? And every archetype so lucky.
I think
Right.
the first deck that did that started to take things from other decks that didn't belong to them until it got banned was Shadows. I mean, back in the days, Shadows was running in super polarization and abusing it when they didn't need it. And when Super Poly got banned, Heroes kind of took a little bit of a hit.
Hold on. Well, I don't want to say, but I want to keep it within the realm of like a card made for a specific archetype. I'm not talking about
I
like the
mean,
super
back in the days, no other deck used super polymerization
Because
aside
no,
from
no,
yours.
because no other deck had the
no,
because no other deck had
no,
the versatility in terms of monster pool comparatively.
but yeah, that is.
So
Right, no,
compared,
but here's the thing. No, but super polarization was not made only for heroes. It is a fusion card that
yeah,
plays fusions, right? So it's not locked into a particular archetype per
spell
se.
speed 4 as they call it.
Right, right. So it's like, all right, it helps fusion.
I think he was the first. So. Yeah.
Well, I don't know, right? But it's not locked into it's not like it is elementary super polymerization or
Yeah.
right. So even if you lose
Yeah,
it,
but
right? No,
cards
even
like
if you
Verti Anaconda, Holly Fibrax, they're not locked in a specific archetype because they don't even have the archetype name mentioned in their text.
That's what I'm. Wait, what?
no, the name, no, the name
I
itself
see.
is not.
All right. Let me explain. Yeah. You have your hockey Fibrax, right?
Yeah.
Right.
It basically revolves around cheating out tunas and then synchro summoning on your opponent's turn, right?
Right.
Where does the card mention so what are Christians? Does it have anything to do with Christians on a whole?
It's taking
Can it
No.
banish itself float
the justification.
special summon what?
The justification behind it is one in the name and two in the fact that Christian is a synchro deck. So you know what you're getting into. Yes, it is not. Yes, you can say it is not directly tied based off of the text in the effect, but based off of the name alone, technically is a Christian card. And most Christian cards are tunas, or well, not most, but they run tunas. So whether or not you used in a Christian deck, you're going to get some tunas out. So not because it doesn't specifically state that.
And then plus,
Go fetch a Christian tuna. I mean, yeah, that would be more limited, and I think that's why they didn't do that, because it's like, oh, we're just gonna make this one deck better, and it probably not get us. And then I think another aspect is kind of overlooked is again marketing, because marketing is king. Because if you sell it as a card that yes, it is supposed to help Christians, but it's probably do way more help or way better for more powerful, more consistent synchro oriented decks, or decks that don't even synchro at all but just can or just happen to run tunas and abuse this one card.
I have 2 points to make, right? Like I mentioned, all right. What's the difference? No matter you have let's compare Christian Hyperfibers to Ancient Gear Ballista, right?
What does Ballista do?
Ancient Gear, I remember both of them have the names of the archetype, right? No, the difference is the effects, really, right? And maybe them summoning condition, right? Ancient Gear Ballista locked into the archetype in our way, right? With effects, you can draw Gear Tone or any Ancient Gear monster, right? And with Christian Archefibrax, it's a bit more loose, right? Where you can almost stash it in any deck, right? Now, I get what I guys saying about like marketing and all that, but imagine you right now, alright, imagine you coming into the game now. You like a particular archetype. You like the Christian archetype, right? And you needed that Archefibrax.
Yeah, you kind of reach it there.
And then the next balance now, because other decks abuse it. But remember, the Archefibrax, because the Christian deck may not be so powerful, right? You need the help of the Archefibrax in order to do a thing, right? But then because now other archetypes abuse the Archefibrax, next balance are probably come on, the ban hockey fireworks. So anybody who even have a right for Christians are gonna be like shit. And plus they're not gonna replacement to me. Right? So because of other so it's like so right now you do something wrong, but they are punished junior fees. Right? So it's kind of unfair to like when you make a card to a specific archetype to because it's a rules with so many condition and its effects where other decks benefit from it more than the archetype already needed it.
Yeah, yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I don't know. It just kind of make kind of like I just said before, like there needs to be like it's either with the summoning conditions at least where if you have someone, say test panther for example, we will definitely need a god beast or other monster. So my topic was to use some mind control, brain control, whatever, think opponent monster, right? Someone a god beast and then link someone test panther. But we definitely have to run a god beast in my deck. I have to run god beast. We try to short anything close on someone. Right? So I don't know because when I'm so loose with certain things, it kind of hard to control the game. You know, if you have bandits really per card, right? Because the other decks it's so loose. Right? So, I don't know. That's but man, that's the whole marketing idea, right? So
Yeah,
it's not really like a complaint.
yeah, it's to sell the card more. Like it get more.
Yeah,
look,
I will sell the card more.
And then
But the thing is,
and I guess another look too, because that's I guess in one sense you can say that's how Konami influences secondary marketing in a sense sometimes, because they have all the control of how the cards printed. Granted, they personally may or may not do it because well, they may do it more because it forces instead of buying one pack, you probably buy the entire box or whatever. But yeah, in hopes that you get it, and then that is what technically. Then after that is what really influences secondary market. It's like, okay, after going through 10 packs, I got 3 hockey fireworks per every 10. So, it's easy to pull. I might sell it for a little low price, or it took me a whole three cases just to get one. Okay, this is $100 card.
So the short print cards as a marketing strategy.
Potentially,
I believe so.
if you think like because it's just like gacha in a sense. It's just like gacha. It is gacha. Yeah, it's a guessing game because you don't know what you know. Okay, you know what comes in the pack, but you don't know like what comes in the pack. If that make any sense, that makes sense.
Yeah, so if that a potential card that you might get, but you might not get it, or a certain amount of it. So you might be like, ooh, I need to draw, like say I'm looking for archetypes, for example, and I need 3 of them. I might not see the archetype box, might only get 1.
So, right? And the thing is, yeah, you got your hands on a box, but that doesn't guarantee that you're going to pull it.
Yeah, and the thing is, and again, this is where most like toxic things come from the game, where that you have persons who love the game and living on a certain budget, and then there are persons who also love the game but don't have money to spend. Right? Now, basically, what I say is that you have a bit pull and suffer forever. We have the almighty man with the money.
Well,
right?
no. You don't have to say that, because I think what a lot of people forget is that there are points in the game. Granted, it was not too long ago, but there were points in the game where you could buy a structure deck and take it to a tournament and do. You're not gonna win. Well, you might win if it depends on the tournament. But
I mean, like
you can
2005.
No. Monarchs was a deck that you could pull right out the box. Like buy 3, which is like what $30. Granted, $3,000.
Yeah, I mean,
or $30.
Wait, which monarchs?
Okay, Junior. Obviously, the good version of the monarchs.
So, I mean, I have to ask because I mean, the first monarch iteration was good, but you couldn't just bite out of the box.
Yeah, but that was the days when you had to.
Kicked.
Yeah, that was the days when you had to run perfect circle. But I'm talking about no, or well, not no, but a few years ago, which was when Monarchs had cards like Pantheism and Stormforth and Tenacity and Domain and Aether and Erebus and the Heavenly Squire and the Underworld Squire and literally all you had to do was the only thing you might need to get was at the time was Majesty's Fiend and maybe Vantis Fiend for like either side. Well, Majesty's Fiend mained it because it have the stats of a monarch, you can easily search it, but Vantis Fiend you probably side it because you have the drawing to it and stuff. Granted, you have more draw power now with it, which with Pantheism, but just like at the time I bought three decks and entered a tournament that day, and I think got 4th place, and that was the time when Blue Eyes was one of the most powerful decks at the format, and I played a Blue Eyes deck and pulled a win out of my fucking ass. But I say that to say yes. If you're a budget player, quote unquote, there are times when when you're not going to see a lot of win or a lot of high win rates based off the deck you might be playing at the time. But I mean, as a former budget player, well, I can't say a former budget player because I still kind of lean towards the budget side of the game in terms of when I build a deck. I'm not going to buy a deck that is like 100,000 or however much money I have to spend on decks these days. I'm not spending all of that. I'm going to get something at a reasonable price. But
the price is right.
Yeah, I'm not buying no. Because I remember when it was Necros. That's what the fuck it was. Remember when Necros just dropped on? I heard the car was. I heard Brianna was $180. I was like, well, it's a good thing I have my Satana Knights here because I am not getting any of those cards. But I just said that to say, yes, as a budget player, you might run through dire times of not being able to win or not a lot of wins coming your way. But if you wait and be patient, you never know. It just might go back to the whole motive of building or creating structure decks that you can use and you can take straight to a tournament after buying three boxes. Because even Salaman Greats was the same thing. Salaman Greats was a structure deck that was good, and even Rockets to a certain extent more now than before because now they have like some Dragonity cards that they can use, and what the 2 Link Dragons name again? I think it's like Link 1.
Are those ones called the brand name? Like, we probably see about the one with a brand name.
Elfie or something like that.
Oh, Elfie,
yeah, those are very highly used now by Rocket players. Because I was playing one again this morning when I was.
Gumblar is one because I mean
it's still powerful because, like I said, I was watching. I was watching duels because I was checking out what was going on on Dueling Network, and there was I think it was a 1300 rating duelist, and he was playing this guy that was.
Okay.
Oh, you have to leave. Hello.
Yes, yeah. Losing again, kind of sorry again. I'm here, but just at the song kind of low.
Oh, fuck. How much better now?
And then, this one I know. And then something not to watch the signal because like now watching bar and something the bar just dip on there to come up back.
Man fun, I play Anki Spanky with him. But
gentlemen.
yeah, it's that time, eh?
Yeah. I guess we can end it here then.
Yes, I can hear you.
No, I know what you plan to as much like I'm starting things like I'm loving this podcast It's good to I guess even though I might not agree on everything because like I said we come from like different um environments where you is
Viewpoints.
concerned,
Yeah.
right? Um and where we can say eye to eye on some things. And the game is by no means perfect. But there is still some things that I like, whether the current movie or the back then one, right? Um it is like I said to myself, alright, no more than an hour. How much time do I know?
A good amount of time.
Yeah, shit, I was 2 hours, Christ, right? So
Yeah.
I'm just got some things to before we work on morning.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and that's why I started with a better, I started even when circulate, when I least can sleep late for the Sunday.
No man, no man.
And yeah, I understand, but no matter what day matters, and we can get some sleep before tomorrow.
No man. So
Yes,
So,
let's close up then.
we're just gonna close it here.
uh,
Alright, so this has been
so
another
people,
it's
that
been
been fun.
yeah man, this has been another episode of the Children of the Card Game. Signing out, your host, Chaz, the hostess with the mostess, and my fellow co-hosts.
And your co-host, ever so loving you, Bill.
With him whore himself.
Again, the man that never dies.
Well, probably soon one day. Yeah. Yes, I'm here. And yeah, this is a good thing that you guys are doing. It's not before it is not like um I'm not seeing where Jamaica is like like you know when you talk about Yu-Gi-Oh, like I was like either from